we are going to, this Sunday, be ready for the regular season of football. And a lot of you will be hosting parties. A lot of you will be having Sunday night dinners. And that's a lot of preparation. A lot of preparation. You have a lot of hungry people that want to come watch football or want to come over for Sunday dinner. You have to start cooking early. It's a long process. And then afterwards, as everyone's probably sitting around like me, just sitting around, you're doing dishes. So the host always has to work so hard if they're having a party for football or if they're having a Sunday dinner. So if you're hosting that, you know how tired it is. After you're done everything, you just probably want to go to bed. Now Jesus, he was hosting. This text takes place right after Jesus was the host of feeding, not football fans, not your family on Sunday dinner, but feeding 5,000 people. He was exhausted. He told his disciples, go ahead of me. I need to pray. Jesus always took time to pray and to get rest. And he told them, go ahead of me. And you could see them as night was starting to come on, as the last part of the sun was probably hitting the water, as you could see the glaze of the sun and the water and the rocks and the beauty. And he walked up the mountain. You could see the path of the stones and the rocks and the beauty of the mountain, and also the green trees. And he rested. But the disciples were on the boat. And things started to get dark. All they probably saw was the moon that hit and gave radiance to the water and the big stars in the sky. And that's all they probably could see. And they probably wondered, where is Jesus? Does he have to sleep this long? Does he have to pray this long? And in John's gospel, it tells us that they were about 3.5 miles out on the water. And here, as twilight was starting to come in, as dawn was coming in, there was a glimpse of light probably breaking in. And here, Jesus comes walking on the water. As he's walking on the water, they feel and they're scared. The disciples think it's a ghost. They think it's a ghost. They're scared and they're exhausted from all the rowing. They say, and Jesus tells them, and they can tell Jesus by his voice, and he says, do not be afraid. And as soon as they hear his voices, they can tell Jesus by his voice. Throughout the scriptures, Peter gets impulsive, and he hears it. Peter's got to be a ham. He's impulsive. He's got to be the ham. He's got to do something. A lot of people say Peter is a brown noser. But he says, Jesus, if it's you, tell me to come. Peter's anxious to do something. Jesus says, it's me. Jesus gives him the power to come walk on the water with him. But there's only one condition. You got to have faith. And Peter goes out on the water. And when he goes in the water, his faith subsides and he starts to sink. Jesus stretches his hand out. Says, oh, you of little faith. Picks up Peter. And holds Peter and lets him hold on to him. And gets him back in the boat. He lets him lean on him. We have to, sometimes, our faith, when we get scared. And the winds were there that night. And Peter's faith subsided. Our faith subsides. And we get scared. Our faith may be subsiding. And we may be scared right now as 2 hurricanes have hit our nation. In Texas and in Florida and off the islands. And in the islands off the coast of Florida. And people are suffering. We have to ask ourselves, our faith may be slipping like Peter's. Why would God do this? But our God is not a God. Our Jesus is not a Jesus that sits at the right hand of the God, of the Father, and just sits there and makes things happen. So, I'm going to make a hurricane come to Florida. We'll make one happen in Texas. Some people, pastors, believe that it's immorality why God does this. This is not true. This is called a natural evil. It's like a disease, cancer, AIDS, malaria. A natural disaster is a natural evil. God doesn't send out hurricanes to people. God instead is a working God, is a suffering God. He extends his hand out to the people. He's in the tear ducts of those that are crying in Texas. He's wiping away tears of those that are in Florida that stayed or worried about their homes that evacuated. He is holding the hands of people that are on the islands of Barbados, Puerto Rico, as they already didn't have anything. Now, they don't know what they had. They know they'll never get it back. He's wiping the tears away as we are on the eve of 16 years ago, a disaster that happened, terrorism of 9/11. The people that remember this, our God extends his hand. He's in the suffering. He's working with the people. He is in the boat with the Coast Guard. He is on the chopper with the National Guard. He is with the regular people out on the search and rescue teams, with FEMA, with UMCOR. Our God is working, is a God that's in the suffering. Doesn't just throw things on there. He extends his hand and lets us lean on us when our faith is sinking. And we, as our faith sinks, we have to be the hands and feet of each other, of Jesus, and be working with the people through their suffering. As we're going to do and be helping and let people lean on us financially, we're going to give out monetary donations as a second offering today to UMCOR, and it'll go right to the disaster sites. We need to lean on each other. In order to lean on God who gives us strength, we need to lean on each other when our faith sinks, and our faith will sink, like Peter's did. We need to lean on each other. Our faith may be suffering as we suffer from a disease, the natural disaster that our friends and brothers and sisters are having in Houston, Texas, and Florida, and the islands. Our faith may be slipping. When your faith slips, you have to hold on and lean on someone, as Bill Withers says. Bill Withers says, swallow your pride and lean on somebody. We have to swallow our pride and lean on someone. As Pastor Greg tells me, always counsel up. He's such a good friend of mine, Pastor. Counsel up. And what he means by that is go to someone that's going to make you feel positive when you talk to them. Don't keep going into the dry well. That's the person that's going to make you feel bad. Get to someone that's going to hold you up and that you can lean on. And that they will take your hand and put your hand back into Jesus' hand where you have faith and where Jesus can get you, let you lean on him, and put you back in the boat. Counsel up. Lean on someone that gives you positive energy. It will put you in the arms of Jesus. And the hand, because our faith will slip at times. We will suffer at times, but Jesus is there with us in the suffering. And our brothers and sisters, we need to be there while other people suffer, while our brothers and sisters suffer in Houston, Florida, and the islands. So how do I know that our God is in the suffering, doesn't just send hurricanes? Martin Luther King, there was 5 girls in there, 1963. Birmingham, Alabama. They were in the ladies' room. And a bomb went off by another Christian organization called the Ku Klux Klan. before the girls died. And Martin Luther King did the eulogy. He explained in the eulogy how Jesus was there through the suffering as the nation mourned over these 4 black girls, precious girls. Martin Luther King says, you can hear him, voice. He says, Jesus was blown out of the stained glass window that day. Jesus was blown out of the stained glass window that day. Meaning that Jesus was there through the suffering. It was through the impact of the bomb. Jesus suffered too. When we suffer, Jesus suffers. And when one person suffers, our brothers and sisters in Texas suffer, and our Florida, and in Puerto Rico, and Cuba, we suffer too. We are all in the body of Jesus Christ, and we, the head, is Jesus. And that's who we lean to and hold a hand up. And we need to counsel up and lean on each other, because Bill Withers says we all need someone to lean on. So in order to lean to our God, we need to lean on each other and get to our God and hold our hands firm on that. Someone has told you about Jesus Christ. That's how you got your faith. Jesus didn't just pop out of the sky. We leaned on someone. We learned. We lean on each other, help them with their help them with their struggles and their sufferings. As our God wipes away the tears of those suffering in New York, those suffering from the terrorism attacks, those suffering in Houston, Texas. He's in the boats. He's walking on the water. He's lending his hand out to those on the island that are preparing a feast, hearing them say grace. Our God is a suffering God. We are suffering people. We have to love one another. Let them lean on us. As we someday, as Bill Withers says, are going to need someone to lean on. And if you are lacking faith, counsel up and lean on somebody. Because when you lean on someone, you get back to leaning on God. He is with, as God is working with, the pastor in Texas that got in his boat with a couple of congress and went out and saved people that were still in their homes, his congregants and the community, on his own boat. He was with and was through the suffering, gave him strength, gave the hand to a doctor in Houston as it was windy, just like this scene in this text. It was windy, the waters. This doctor kayaked his way over the waters to the medical center to perform surgery on a patient. God was leaning his hand, giving him faith, giving him strength. And our God was there in Houston, Texas, in a shelter. As he's here in New York, he's in Texas, he's in Florida, he's omnipresent. And he's in the islands. He was there. And he was there as they, in a shelter in Houston, had nothing. They were staying on these little cot beds. But they were praising the one that gives, extends his hand to them. They were singing gospel songs and clapping and leaning on each other figuratively to give praise. As another person was suffering, they were suffering. As our brothers and sisters suffer, we suffer. As our brothers and sisters suffer, our God suffers with us. How great is our God? We must swallow our pride and let people lean on us. And swallow our pride to lean on others. And love. And guide them back to the hand that always is extended. Put them back in the boat. In order to be put back in the boat, you need to have the hand of Jesus, as that's the strength. As Bill Withers says, we all need someone to lean on. Let people lean on you. Lean on someone else of your faith thinking. And let Jesus take your hand and get you back on the boat, or get someone to lean on you, to get their hand back in the hand of Jesus, to get them back on the boat. We all need someone to lean on, as Bill Withers says. Amen.